Hey everybody, it's me, Jono, and I'm so glad that you're joining us for our Going Deeper devotionals. We are in a series, It's All in Your Head, and I love this, that we're talking about the power of the mind. There have been a lot of people before us who've studied the mind and all of its, concepts, how much it really controls in our lives. And while it certainly controls our bodies, kind of the engine of the body, it does so much more. It ends up being the filter through which we interpret and see things. See, we can see with our eyes, but the difference is how it is received and interpreted in the mind. Have you ever seen somebody who is colorblind and they get those glasses where they can see color for the first time? Those videos make me cry almost every single time I watch them. People seeing the world in all of its glory. And it's this change in perspective. The same stuff is all around them, but now they see it differently. And in the same way, we're called to be made new in our mind because I think it has a similar effect. We can look at all the same stuff that surrounds us in life, in a broken world, and yet we can see things so differently. In fact, Paul says in Ephesians chapter 4, starting in verse 22, he says, "You were taught with regard to your former way of life, to put off your old self, which is being corrupted by its deceitful desires, to be made new in the attitude of your minds, and to put on the new self created to be like God in true righteousness and holiness." I love that Paul understood something about the mind in a time when the mind was only starting to surface. This was the era of philosophy. This was where great minds would gather in the Areopagus, and they would present their cases. They would say, here's my new thought, here's my new interpretation. And so the mind was like all the rage, and it hasn't stopped. We just understand more to it now. And I think that it's challenging to be made new through the renewing of your mind, right? To be transformed by the renewing of your mind. But he's saying that's the exact key ingredient if you want to put on the new self, created to be like God in true righteousness and holiness. Meaning the way we think can shape the way we live. And the way we live is called to look like the way God created us to live. And so I hope that you're challenged and encouraged through this series to start thinking about how you think, to think differently, and to be changed by how you think. That we all might be better reflections of Christ because we take inventory of our mind. And we let this be an instrument that God uses and molds rather than the enemy. So I hope that blesses you and encourages you this morning. I love you all. God bless, and see you later.